Please allow me to introduce ourselves. We are Jim and Nellie Lafferty, Cindy's aunt and uncle. Due to circumstances beyond our control, it is impossible for us to be with you for this homegoing celebration. We would love to be, but it's just impossible. But let me tell you how I met Roy Mitchell. Sometime in the year of 1943, I was working on a dairy farm in Wisconsin and had every other Sunday off. And one Sunday, a cousin of mine invited me to go to church. And I thought to myself, and I asked him, why would I want to go to church? And he said, there's a girl there that you need to see. And so I bought me a new pair of overalls and the first white shirt that I ever owned. This girl played a solo on a brand new cornet that she had bought and sung a solo in the morning service. I have no idea what the preacher said. I don't even remember a whole lot about that girl. I was not overly impressed. It was not love at first sight, but 2 weeks later, I had found out that I had lost my job. The fellow was replacing me with a married man, and so I thought, well, I'd go back home to River Falls, Wisconsin, and I'd take another look at this girl. This girl's name was Nellie Mitchell, Roy's sister. Roy and I had a common bond all of these years. You see, I married his sister, and he married mine. Roy was probably one of the most strong-willed, personally opinionated people that I have ever met. There was no way of changing his mind once he decided on something. But he took those characteristics and he made them into one of the most stalwart, positive Christian persons that I have ever known. And as far as I know, in his 84 years, he was living with his mind made up to be the very best Christian that he could be. He didn't care what you thought. He didn't care how you lived. He didn't care where you went to church. Now, he did care if you went or not. Notice any picture that you've ever seen of Roy, and you'll see some yellow tracts in his pocket. He handed those out. He asked me to help him make that tract, and there was nothing on there but scriptures. But when a person read that tract, they knew that they had the way of salvation. He was an outstanding person. In our early ministry, many times when he and June would come to visit us, they'd bring an apple box filled with groceries, and we really needed the food that they would bring. And of course, our girls always looked forward to the fact that he brought them their own bottle of Pepsi-Cola. We couldn't even afford Kool-Aid for our kids in those days, but they always had their own personal bottle of Pepsi when they came. And as I said, his life was one of complete dedication to God. Sometimes, and I think of the last time that we saw him in Colorado Springs. We stopped off to visit with him a little, and we saw where he didn't have a lot of food in his refrigerator. He certainly had none in the pantry, and he didn't eat like we thought he should eat, and it was a bother to us, and we felt like he was going a little above and beyond with his giving. However, I believe that he felt that his sacrificial giving was not, as we saw it, a giving to a ministry, but he was laying up treasures in heaven where moth doesn't corrupt or thieves can break through and steal. He was making a deposit for a long term in heaven. Let me say this to you today, Keith and Cindy and family members. You did everything that he would let you do for him for all of those years that he was in good health. You would have done more and would like to have, but you couldn't. He wouldn't let you. And certainly, you did all you could when he became ill. Join Nellie and I today as we don't think of him as gone. We look at him as having arrived at the goal he had for many years. I think he said with Abraham through his lifetime, I am searching for a city whose builder and maker is God. I think he agreed with Paul when he said, I reach toward the prize. Roy was reaching toward a prize like Paul. So we recognize that while he has left us, he has obtained. He used the characteristics of his strong will and his opinionated being as a determination to serve God. Try to visualize with us today, if you can, a balcony in heaven with all the prophets of old and many saints of God who have gone on before, leaning over that balcony, and with Roy they are telling us, don't lose sight of the goal. Come on, you can make it. I am looking forward personally to the day when I can stand in the portals of glory at the Bema. That's what's going to happen when the giver of eternal rewards is passing out the rewards. And I see some of the folks whom Roy has given so sacrificially to standing to one side, and Roy standing tall at this Bema of rewards while he gets his eternal reward for his sacrificial giving. I want to be just close enough so that I can see him hold his head and that gorgeous smile that Roy had. He smiled all the time. He laughed probably when there wasn't anything to laugh at. Roy was that kind of a guy. You're privileged today to have known Roy Mitchell. Let his life still impress you. Let's realize that he's saying, come on, you can make it. Life is filled with many decisions, but eternity only has two, and we make that decision. So wish we could have been with you for this homegoing celebration, but we're with you in spirit, and we want you to know that we'll pray for you in the days to come. True enough, you're going to miss Roy. His home is going to be absent, and he's not going to be around here. But listen, he has attained. Let us meet him there. And so until that day comes, may you recognize and realize you have our prayers. This is Jim and Nellie Lafferty, until he comes or calls us home.